too.
Alright. God, I don't even know where to fucking start with this whole thing.
Hello. Yeah, what's up?
When you put this
What do we
document
talk
together, also
about
put in what
so
the new,
far?
Where do we
text Underwood was talking
start
about.
with this?
All we've discussed so far is the bunker has appeared.
Pest control type things.
Oh.
Basically what it'll
You know
do-
what?
We saw
And said
Cerberus
Bundy was
members there.
dismissive about it being.
Yeah, so I spoke to Bundy because I was trying to get a
And you'll
FOIA.
keep your voice down for a second, please.
I've already requested the FOIA. I haven't got word back yet. But basically, I was FOIAing for the business proposal. No, none of the actual contracts or anything, just the actual business proposal, what they submitted to the mayor's office and what he approved to allow the business to exist. Specifically, Cerberus Industries Armory, otherwise known as CIA. Told Bundy about it, and Bundy very quickly spewed out a huge load of words about what he said.
Okay, we'll make a new report.
Well, something along the lines of that doesn't really matter because Section 4 says that trade secrets are exempt from FOIA requests. Okay, goodbye, and then hung up on me.
Section 4 of what?
I'm not 100% sure. I think Section 4 of the FOIA, I don't know, the FOIA approvals or...
There's a difference between trade secrets and a security risk being posed by an organization which is headed by criminals who will manufacture weapons in that facility, including missiles.
Yeah. And the missiles is where I start getting real concerned.
Yeah, they can, they can keep the designs and all that shit safe and whatnot, but we're not just gonna let them willy-nilly use that spot when they could be fucking building nukes or whatever. Which is why I want to propose.
Nukes is my specific concern. Actually, very, very specific concern.
Yeah, so one thing I want to push forward in the event that, let me just fill you in on something, Walker, and I hope you don't take it out of here and keep this confidential. Because,
of course,
well, Bass is a dumbass. I don't know why the fuck he's on this deal with Cerberus.
Whatever.
I know why Pred did. Because Pred, well, let's say Dean Watson exploited his gambling addiction, used state funds with his, with the, what is it called? The Diamond Hand Loan Company?
Yeah.
To get him into debt. Dean Watson was able to essentially embezzle funds by putting Kyle Pred's gambling money into his pockets through the casino. Got Kyle Pred in debt. Crane told us that Dean bailed him out, I think. Oh no, he was billed, so he's in the negative. So the Treasury covered for Kyle Pred, right? He's now in debt, and he's also indebted to, I think, Dean Watson. I can't remember. He still kept all his money, I think. And essentially, he's indebted to Cerberus, right?
Yeah.
They were going to do some security thing. There was some legislation pushed for that, but now it's coming up that there's this whole
It was 2 days ago,
CPD
so
thing where they're
on
gonna
the
sponsor
21st.
The PD. And now coming up to, well, also, this whole thing with the FIB, where I was going to work with the military to provide them some stealth helicopters. When somebody from the mayor's office approached me about that with the FIB, it later got swooped out from under me. I was confronted by Lang and Dean Watson saying that they've signed a contract and got legislation signed, say they can manufacture weapons and provide them to the PD, which at the time they didn't. They lied to me. And they said they can do it cheaper than I could get it, through the military or whatever. And they're very confrontational, cussing at me, all that jazz. And told me to stay in my own lane and stay the fuck away. Told him I'd look into it. Shortly after, I got a call from Dean Watson saying he'd offer me 5% of the business for $1, trying to buy me out. So obviously that's very fishy. And then I called Mayor Mickey, essentially making a freedom of information request regarding the contracts that the mayor's office might have made with Cerberus. He told me to talk to his lawyer, which is not really something he can do, I guess, as it's government officials. And it was a freedom of information request. And I looked at the date on some of the contracts, and it was pretty much on the same day I was confronted by Lang and Dean. So they obviously rushed to get a contract out and get it signed by Pred and Bass. And now we're here where they've got a bunker facing Bolingbrook. Nobody was given a heads up. Not DOJ, not DOC, not PD.
You've seen it's
the mo-
blocked up now, by the way.
It's what?
A bunch of drywall's been put in front of the blast doors.
Yeah,
and then
I'm
they've
actually
shoveled
up
it.
making a report about it right now, so you guys can see
So
the
it's just like
pictures
an
I was
airlock?
sent. Give me a second. I'm
Yeah.
almost done adding it all.
I mean, that would make sense.
It's
That
an
security
invest-
had was awful. Just
Yeah,
had
I mean,
fucking
you could
fences you could jump
literally
over.
drive under. I didn't because I
under.
was like, that seems strange, but
So, yeah, it's awful. I mean, as long as it got an airlock, whatever. But the security risk here is it's below ground level from Bolingbrook. Dean Watson told AJ Hunter on the phone that there's a tunnel there. I don't know if it goes under the prison, around the prison, or what. But essentially, that's where the armory is. I tried to ask Lang about it. He told me to go fuck myself, pretty much. And then I'm a dumbass for even trying to press for any documents. But I told him we'll blow the doors down without some sort of information regarding, you know, the plan and permission, where it goes, like, you know, essentially some blueprints, and all that jazz. But essentially, this is all boiled down to Cerberus being in cahoots with the mayor's office, so they can essentially put any price tag they want on these weapons to sell to the PD, which what contracts now been signed for. The mayor's office can, you know, sign off on anything. Cerberus line their pockets, and there's no third party or anybody to keep these guys in check to see what the expenses of these weapons might be. Not only that, but they're being manufactured and headed by criminals who have shot at cops. For a start, don't even have a Class 1 license, let alone being able to manufacture Class 3 weapons and up. So as of right now, and according to the legislation, they're still not able to manufacture weapons. They have not able to manufacture weapons. Nothing says they can. So if they were to manufacture anything and sell it to the PD, they would be, you know, they'll be doing illegal weapons manufacture. And I don't think they should be given the access to manufacture weapons at all, given how malicious this all started by getting the sheriff of the PD in debt,
and good looking.
and then using that to their advantage to essentially just swindle the PD. I don't know why. I mean, that doesn't help my case that Bass has signed this shit. But, you know, I'll give it to him. Probably doesn't know about everything, but he should know that Lang Buddha and the people that had this company are goddamn criminals.
It gets a little worse.
What? Oh, okay.
Cerberus has been trying to privatize the prison for a long time. I know during the large insurrection/treason that happened in the prison, there was some negotiation between Dean Watson and the prisoners for Cerberus to privatize the prison in order to change things and also add a parole program to some of the lifers who are currently there to allow them to eventually get parole, even though they're in for life with no chance of parole already. One main point of contact was the person who declared himself the new warden, Lennon Lee, otherwise known as Bane, who is good friends with Dean Watson and specifically Lang Buddha. They've had numerous contact. They speak to each other a lot. Lang Buddha and Lennon Lee were in extensive contact.
Lennon the
during
lifer, right?
Yes.
Bane.
Bane. Bane was in extensive contact with Lang during the insurrection in the prison, and they had multiple communication about what was going on. In extension,
I don't know if you can do that. What's up, prophecy?
Dean Watson
Thank you for the
has quite
gifted
a lot
sub.
of close ties to uranium.
Yeah. I got word on some of that.
Yeah.
Well, not about Dean, actually, but it came up in conversation. When I was asking someone to do some snooping. What's Dean Watson's ties to uranium?
So a long time ago, God, that was almost like 6 months ago now. This is the first iteration of it. Vasily Sazkolovich, Dean Watson, and 4 other individuals. Marla Stanfield, I believe, is one of them. I can't remember the other three,
Oh.
were involved in kidnapping William Gunner and another individual from Burgershot, taking him to the casino where they forced him to clean by shoveling. They shoveled a large amount of powder, irradiated powder, into bags, which they then went to Mirror Park Lake and cleaned. It was
Big
a
job.
substance we
Big
now
job for
picked
you,
up,
kid.
Cocainium. It's irradiated cocaine mixed with uranium.
I
I
heard something
eventually
about that.
found it about
Yeah.
a month or two later. There was 7,000 grams of it in the Mirror Park Lake in duffel bags. That's all sealed away. Later on, there's a secret garage or a parking spot. There's like a tent and a like military bed, you know, one of those like pop-up ones
Cot?
on the eastern, yeah, like a cot on the eastern coast of the island. An individual was seen there some time ago. A garage was found there which belongs to the casino. Inside was a number of vehicles that came back to Dean Wick. Some of these vehicles are one of one, never been seen in the city before. They've not been able to find anything on the individual known as Dean Wick. However, the individual that was accessing it, the valet, was Dean Watson. So Dean Watson was accessing these vehicles that belonged to Dean Wick. Later on, a uranium rod was found inside the wicker basket storage that was there.
What
They
the
were
fuck?
storing uranium inside a wicker basket that they got from Pottery Barn.
Yeah, like TJ Maxx, TK Maxx, or whatever.
What?
I don't know. Yeah, it was in a security case. It wasn't just like loose hanging around, you know, in your spare button spot.
I almost caught a Dean Watson assisting with what we suspected to be a meth run. While transporting some drug paraphernalia or something. You know, with one of the armored cars.
Yeah,
And also Lang Buddha and I believe Speedy was involved.
yeah, we
yeah.
know.
Because I got shot at by Lang Buddha. I think you were there as well, Cop. We were on the boat. Both got
Yep.
shot at by him. And
Lang
then,
Buddha has been associated with those specific,
on you guys.
the
I actually
valuable
love
good,
Metallica.
37
At
A's,
least get a
or lost.
container
In
from
fact, he's our
Home
prime
Goods.
suspect for anything to do with them. The other person
Yeah,
being
'cause we
Santiago
chased-
Madrid.
Dean Watson down. He actually kidnapped AJ Hunter and went for the casino. He was pretty desperate to get away. And then he's submitting his records. He was chatting with all the people involved. He got picked up in a helicopter by Speedy and jetpacked away with his little thingy that he had in his bag.
All I know is pretty much anytime uranium has popped up in the city, it's been linked to, in some way or form, Dean Watson. The other thing with the cocainium, there was a PowerPoint presentation on Vicily and a little USB drive who had listed his plan to create a nuclear missile, to create a dirty bomb in order to nuke Mirror
Yeah,
Park
wasn't-
so that he could eradicate the HOA and turn them into mutants and therefore
Who?
sell them his irradiated cocaine.
Isn't that thing in an evidence locker?
Who did that? Who did
Yes.
that?
Vasily Sazkalovich was caught with Dean Watson. That was the PowerPoint presentation on him. I can get it for you.
Wow.
So this is why I'm majorly concerned that he's manufacturing or will be manufacturing missiles, because that would give him the ability to make the propellant to launch things, and then if he's got access to uranium, well, I'm sure a little testing he can figure it out.
Yeah, I think our best bet at this point is to put together as much information as possible. See, a lot of this stuff comes from word of mouth from officers and Crane and judges and stuff like that. And when it comes to the timeline of events leading up to this service pre-D stuff and whatnot. But the shit you're talking about, if we can add that in there as well with some evidence and whatnot, I think the best course of action that we can do, if we're not gonna put a stop to this, is be able to keep these guys in check, right? Have you ever heard of the ATF?
I have not.
It's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Essentially, a
Alright.
bureau that can keep tabs on what these guys are doing and make sure they're not, you know, building nukes or anything like that. And kind of have some legislation pushed through for that for either PD members to operate as that, or I wanted the FIB to do it, but I believe the FIB were not pleased with what Pred was doing with Cerberus, and Bench Guy was outspoken about that, and as a result, Kyle Pred ratted out his name to the public, caused him to disappear. Boobers also disappeared.
Yeah, he
And,
basically blew Bench Guy's cover.
Yep, and McNulty kind of well, he died, and he was
Yeah,
FIB.
he's dead.
So obviously these guys are trying their damned hardest to make sure that shit happens, and it's obviously not clean at all. What they're doing, there's a lot of dirty bits and bobs that crop up in this long timeline of events that allows Cerberus to have a, you know, stranglehold, so to speak, over members of the PD, primarily Pred. And if we can't put a stop to it and they get legislation through that they can manufacture weapons and all that jazz, we at least need to keep them in check.
Mm-hmm.
I guess then that's where we need. I think Underwood, what we have to have is first of all get the authority to operate in the capacity of the ATF.
Yeah, that's why I want to put as much of this stuff together as possible, present it to the Senate. Say, look, this isn't as clean as it can be. We need to make sure that shit doesn't get out of hand. And we need to keep tabs on what these guys are doing. Even if we're not necessarily going to prosecute them for any wrongdoing in the long lead up to this, right? But there's certainly grounds for us to make sure that we're making sure they're not doing shit they shouldn't be.
Should I be worried about Dean stashing uranium in our fucking house?
Wait, what?
Potentially.
In our houses, we have... I can't see what's on the shelves in our house. I mean, I can, but that would be, you know, breach of privacy, I guess. I don't know where the line is.
35187.
I don't know if I can raid my own house just to see what I have in there. Because I used to put stuff in there, but now I can't get it anymore.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be hard to bring in this to the mayor's office because the mayor's office is in cahoots with Cerberus to make sure
Right.
this shit's going along.
And also some of this is 8 months ago. Statute of limitations and all that. But I mean, it's
you say statute of limitations, but this is
that's why timeline is important, because even if there's a limitation, we can see a continuation and a progression. It's not just that, oh, this is happening.
We don't have to use it to prosecute.
Yeah.
But we can use it as grounds to prop up this.
Just make sure he doesn't bring home any wicker basket. Dean, put that basket down.
You can call it the Fat Bureau instead of the ATF.
Firearms,
tobacco,
alcohol, and tobacco.
Yeah.
That gang.
All right, there you go. I sent you both a presentation. It's wild.
I remember Gunnar talking about the cocainium.
Yeah, Gunnar very much wants the cocainium and is constantly trying to get more of it. He's also been trying to get the uranium rods off me. There was a second uranium rod found in Mirror Park in another thing under the water near the dam. But
we should kill Barry Svensson. It's a work in progress. We should bomb Mirror Park. A plan by Vasily Siskaljevich. With your material, we can create a new species and possibly solve all of our problems. Side note, my hypothesis: if the residents of Mirror Park become mutants, then we can sell them radioactive cocaine. Nuclear solution. You have uranium. The HOA exists. Okay. Note.
What the fuck did I just look at?
How would this all work? We take the uranium rods and make a dirty bomb, turning the remains of Mirror Park Tavern into a crater. The tavern, what it looks like currently, and then the tavern potentially after the fact. And then there's a picture of the entire HOA and then an arrow and it points over to the Ninja Turtles. How will the detonation affect them? I don't really know, but it's possible that the outcome is a new form of life and or species. See examples. Oh god. Chernobyl may have caused my blood to be resistant to radiation. Why would he add that? What's the worst that can happen? Some HOA members die. The best that could happen, they mutate, evolving into mutants. So we can sell radioactive cocaine, or as I like to call it, cocainium. I'm going to be honest, this looks like a presentation that I had for the SRU when we were looking to buy cars and use the state funds, and we went to go talk to the mayor. Why do we need fast cars? To kill racers.
Gifted a tier 1 sub to Nikki the Duck. They have given 59 gift subs in the channel.
Oh my god. Thank you, Chippy.
Well, that was a batshit crazy slideshow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just got to put as much together as we can and present it to the Senate. I think we can get Crane on our side as well. And yeah, we need to make sure the P don't accept any kind of weaponry or anything like that, because they don't have legislation right now that allows that company to manufacture weapons in the first place. Only supply it. So it would essentially be being providing
I found
illegal
it.
weaponry, so to speak.
Slide 1, the big pitch. We
I've
need
got the
fast
FOIA
cars,
request in,
please.
but
Presented to you by the
let
SASP.
you know when that actually gets
What?
approved or
After being offered a choice of 3 manufacturers, we have decided as a
Alright.
group that we simply need all 3 available to us. Variety
we need
equals
to see
results.
What's inside this sooner
We
rather than
need
later.
the Challenger,
those
the
goddamn
Mustang,
doors down.
and the Corvette. How many innocent locals have been run down?
I
Too
mean, if
many to
there's no-
count. Side
If they
note,
start
we're very
supplying us with
serious about
weapons and
this.
those weapons are illegal,
How
surely
many
this just
fences
means that
have
we
been
need to just
destroyed? We
bust.
can't
it's
count
like-
that
it's like
high. The truth hurts.
Fucking Mr. K coming along and saying, "Hey,
Why?
you guys want to
We
buy
are
some
sick of this
AK-47s?
shit.
I can make them for you."
Racers have been
When we
plaguing the
sign a deal to
streets
say,
with,
"Sure, we'll buy 'em."
with little to no consequence.
Perfect.
They
That's where
have
the
no regard
legislation's
for
sitting right
anything,
now.
let alone each other. You should see them smash into each other even when they are racing because they have no idea what they're doing. It's time for action. Quick tip. Racers are
can-
actually
I mean,
trash
they
human
can
beings.
approve, them to make weapons all
Let's
they
fuck
want,
them
but
up.
That legislation
To fund our vehicles,
certainly needs to come from the Senate.
we're going to take their
Mhm.
cars. The state earns money. Why?
Look at what happened
We
to the
could
lost
use
when they
their
started
cars to
get
catch their friends.
funky.
How? We need to chase these fuckers down. Go after G&E, make NOS illegal, have DOJ seize their cars. Quick tip.
Maybe
Street
put 'em all in
racers
mag
look
sec.
and sound like drug
That'll
addicts.
teach 'em.
Actual facts.
That could
The
be a new
state
way
police
of
has successfully
punishing them. Yeah,
recorded
I
over
know that
20
there's
unique
currently-
tracks
we're not
used
allowed to put
by
them in
street
mag sec
racers.
for too
The
long
state police has been
because
able to identify a
breach of their
handful of
human
main
rights and stuff, but-
contenders of the street
Well, we
racing
expedite them to
underground
KO
scene.
for Rico or some
Current
shit.
CVPI speed maxes at 130 miles
was
an
just
hour
gonna
when the
kill them,
average
but
street
that
racer car
works
is
too.
140
that could
plus.
work, yeah, I'm sure
Quick
the Senate
tip.
would allow.
Racers drive cars that make them look good when actually they suck.
Yeah, ultimately, it's to protect the interests of the state.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a big circle jerk with
End
Cerberus,
the
mayor's
madness.
office,
Ban
P.
NOS. Give us cars and we'll all win. Quick tip. This
There's
car
a lot of holes
in
in
this photo
legislation.
used NOS. Now look at it.
and,
It's the
You know, it's
car from
a
Fast
lot of
and
it as
Furious
well as
on
where
fire.
state funds where that's going to end up, and nobody right now to keep them in
Oh,
check
boy.
to see how much it costs to build this stuff, what they're actually building. You know,
Yeah.
so sure they can line their pockets because they're a private company, but when they're working with a state,
It worked though.
and especially with Mickey approving this shit, on behalf of the state, there has to be some regulation there.
It's got to be done legally.
let's put together a timeline needs to happen, even though it's beyond the 60, 30-day, whatever. Let's look at it as if it's not, that there isn't a limitation. Let's just collect everything we have, identify things within the timeline so we can see like what is obtainable at least now, but based on these prior findings, and then go to the Senate, ask them to have the power to do something about this. And then we need to talk to the DOJ about a legislation thing, and then we can actually act on that. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep. I can
Who-
put all these together in a
who
least a PowerPoint or
else,
something.
Walker, do you think you could have help work with you with collecting information? Like, who do you trust?
Mackenzie Hayes.
What about you, Underwood? Nice, no one. Okay. We can work with
Sorry, what you
that.
say?
Besides Winston, I asked him, who else do you trust to investigate this without turning around and, I guess, like,
I don't quite. I think Ryan would be into it, but I don't trust him at all. I think you go running
Ryan?
back to base.
Who?
She's two in it with Bass.
Oh.
Ryan Knight.
oh, fuck. This would be a great thing for Brian Knight, but yeah.
I mean, I could talk to him, try and get him on our side, because I know he's got a vendetta against Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Been waiting for a good moment, but
Yes.
this isn't really going to bring Dean down, I don't think. We're
He's
just,
also
right
supportive
now,
of
our
the
best bet
weapons
is
deal.
to try and keep him in check. I think while Mickey's the mayor, we're not going to get very far if we try and
Yeah, but, you know, if Mickey wants to sign stuff and stir things and, like, set the stuff up, we'll stir things in the shadows in the meantime and prep
Yep.
ourselves up for something.
let's
And then
be a
just
pain
be
in their
like-
ass with this bureau, and then we can also use that bureau to look through all that shit. So we're gonna have to essentially get access to their books to see what they're paying for,
Mhm.
what they're forking out, how much profit they're making from the state. You know,
It'll just be good to bust their doors down, be like, Fat Bureau, and get all their shit.
need to see where they're making stuff. Sure, they can keep their secrets, but we need to see what they're storing and what they're, you know, a general idea of what they're making.
I
If they've got access to more uranium.
What?
And if they're getting access to, like, I don't know how Dean
Yeah, they
wants
should
them
know.
to
They
keep
shouldn't
getting-
have any kind of
Exactly.
radioactive materials at all. No private company should have access to that.
I do kind of, I mean, I don't want to, I'm not sure where you're at, Underwood. But part of me, just for the sake of seeing how they handle it, I want the deals to go through. I want to see how they justify things. I want to see how they run their operations.
Sure, I see where you come from with that. At the same time, I know what they're doing stems from being dirty. Know what I mean?
Right?
I prefer it not to be happening in the first place, but that's why I want to have the bureau, so that when they do go through with stuff,
Mhm.
we can keep them in check and be a pain in their ass.
Sounds good. And we can't really charge them for doing something illegal if they haven't yet done it.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Any guys got a drink?
yes,
Yeah. It's
Can I have one, please?
$10,000.
Oh, I put some on the.
What? I already
Okay.
got one.
God damn it.
Sorry, I didn't realize we were
Thank
going
you.
for a scam.
I'm going to make loads of money.
What of drinks?
I could have made loads of money. I could have taken the 5% from Cerberus. I've been rich.
No, with making new profiles for everybody in the MDW. It's going to cost them
Oh.
$5 million.
Who even has 5 mil?
Every criminal in the streets.
Oh right. Oh okay.
It takes a lot of time. I have to take several naps to do this shit. Anyway,
God. We got all the
Um,
requests in from the people who have transferred from LSPD.
yes. I've already done all. They have their badges
So
waiting. It's
sorry.
just command and high command and hasn't given them to them.
Oof.
Okay, so I think a lot of this stuff should probably stay off the MTW.
Yeah, I'm not putting mine in the MDW. I'll
I
turn it
I
into
have a
PowerPoint or
big
something.
I have to there's gonna be like a big update that I have to do with a bunch of people with their ranks and their permissions and stuff. And like giving people the correct access. But man, poor FIB. They would have been perfect.
Hey, False is still around occasionally, right?
Yeah. Just kind of gone off the deep end after McNulty.
Yeah, she told me they were romantically involved.
Yeah, they were banging.
Yeah, it's probably a more eloquent way of putting it. I don't think there was much romance, just a lot of.
That's a banging.
Never mind.
Okay.
I need the toilet, so I'm gonna. Go
Okay,
for
yeah,
it.
just
Do you
shit.
guys have a toilet here?
No. Use the cells.
No, okay, I'll use the cells. Alright, if you guys need anything, give me a shout. I'll keep up to date with both of you.
Are you good, Underwood?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna go 42 in a minute.
Okay. Well, I was
Gonna put
hoping
my car.
Andrews would be around, but he fucking lied to me.
Wash out.
Oh my god.